nice day right at the moment. It's so beautiful. It would be really nice to make some paintings and maybe learn about how to make better ones. Maybe Uncle Mike will help us. Maybe he's got some words of wisdom. Hello, how are you today? Painter in residence here. I'm Francis McCarthy. Easel Talks. You enjoying them? I have to be honest with you. I do get a sense of the views only when I go in with my next Easel Talk. So they seem to be doing okay. It's funny, the YouTube thing. I've been doing this a long time, and some people make a living doing it. I get a little bit of scratch, but certainly no living off of it. But it's a lot of work, especially these Easel Talks. It's a bit of work. Not much pay, but this is for you, and this is for art, and this is for the future, and this is for learning. So what are we going to talk about today's Easel Talk? Well, I thought, wow, I've been so practical lately. Everyone's going to get pretty high on that, because I know you guys like the practical, but we're not going to do that at all today. We're going into something that's a lot more important than any technical aspect of painting, and that is the philosophy of art. We're doing art philosophy today. So, click, goodbye. That's fine. You don't have to watch. I don't mind. I do this anyway. But, so let's preface this by saying, I'm working on my new book, and the new book is 4 volumes, and 4 volumes, how can you write? You could write 5 volumes, 8, 10, 100 volumes about painting, because painting is very involved. There's a lot of different insights into every aspect of painting. But I've known for quite a while that underneath this thing you learned about, hey, that's how I mix a really great green, or the composition studies we put up. Oh, I can work out that composition and then make my larger painting. There's a lot of areas you can bring up, but underneath all of those is the big questions. Why are you painting? What is the reason that art needs to exist? And that was a very interesting question before the modern age. Now in the modern age with the AI, it's definitely come to a head. And as I was getting out of my van today and walking into the studio, I was thinking about, sometimes I ruminate a bit about things I want to say to you, and I was thinking, because I'm 60, which, here you are, you either get old or you die, but, I still have a very young outlook, I like to think. On the other hand, I've been in the world quite a while now, and when I was a young person, images, color images were, you'd look through a magazine, a lot of it would be black and white, because printing color was expensive. Color TVs were just coming in when I was very young. We got our first color TV when I was around 4, 5, maybe 6. It was cool. I loved it. Compared to black and white, it was amazing. Getting to my point. Images used to be something that was sacrosanct. So if you took on the role of artist, I'm going to need a brush. This brush has paint on it, though. I might wipe it off a little, because I could stab. You know me with my brush. Sacrosanct, because we need images. We need special people that can make them, that are trained and have an aptitude. It was the meaning was intrinsic. You didn't have to bring any other meaning to it, because we need something beautiful here, we need an image here, we don't have cameras, so get cracking, get to work. And that's what I was thinking as good. So the camera changed everything. The mechanic, that was the first machine to get involved in the, not the very first machine. This isn't that kind of lesson, so we're not going to get into all that. That would be good to talk about, though, all the different mechanics involved with making art. But let's just say the camera come along, and you could just point this machine at a scene, and you get an image. Now, what were the limitations? Well, the limitations were extensive. You know, you didn't have color, you didn't have the ability to move things around. You basically just took a picture and that was that. As we progress on down the lane, you know, you can create sets, you can move your models around, you can do a lot of things with photography. And obviously, we got to the modern age where they do, you know, they started messing with images with the computer. But if you look at what AI does, AI doesn't have to. So when you see a 3D created image in a movie, that had to be, I tried a bit of that because I was a commercial artist, as I've told you before. And I dipped my toe into the 3D thing. I actually took a college course in it and did some pretty interesting little animations and things. But what I could see and feel, I was already working full time as an artist. First of all, it would have just put me in a hospital with RSI. It was just too much. But the other thing I could see is like to create a beautiful form, you had to work very hard on the initial underlying structure of it. We're getting to philosophy, and this is definitely tying into philosophy because philosophy is the underlying structure of what you do. Whether you're a philosophical type or not, it's beside the point. Now I know I am a philosophical type, and I expect this video to have maybe less views than a video on composition. But in fact, so much so I debated even doing it. But you know, I'm just going to do it for you. And just let it wash over you. You don't need to get hung up on things. You need to relax. You need to relax about your painting process. It's a journey. So, and the thing is, like with a journey, you're going, if you know you're going on a long journey, you're going to pack a bag and you're going to make sure, oh, well, I need my nail clippers, well, I need my comb, my toothbrush, I need a book to read, you know, for those dull moments. All these things need to be considered. Anyway, with all that preamble done, I do have some notes, but okay, interestingly, I have a chapter on philosophy in the new book, and I was going to have a whole volume called Philosophy of Art, and then I backed off of that. I thought, nah, I know there's not a lot of appetite for this, so what I'm going to do is sprinkle it around. Kind of like I did with the Easel Talks. We got composition, limited palettes now, philosophy, and maybe next week, oh yeah, next week we might get back into this extended palette, the limited palette thing again. I'm not making any promises. Okay. Oh yeah, a lady came into my studio recently. This was not recently, but in the chapter I wrote. And she was very focused on political messaging, and she came in here and she's like, "How can what is the message of your art?" And I'm like, "Create something beautiful, create emotional response, a quiet place that you can inhabit." She's like, "Oh, that's not going to do it." I'm like, "Yeah, well, I don't like to mix my art with politics personally. I feel like your work can serve beauty, or your work can serve a message. So." Right there at the foundation, you need to decide as an artist, am I about the message or am I about the beauty? Now, for landscape painting, usually it's a pretty done deal. You're into the beauty more than the message, but you could be a hybrid of some type. We have 5 foundations of art philosophy because I like to do that. 5. Foundation number 1. Art as world creation. Every painting creates a new world. I've got one over here. I had to come in today and fix it a little bit because it's a very nice painting. It'll be on the channel. I think I'm doing this weekend. It's a coastal but very moody of a local scene too. So, but when I got it home, I noticed that I had a bit of a veer down, and that's because I paint at an angle. It's not always easy for me to know if something's precisely straight. Anyway, fixed it, and it's great. Great painting. It's also a world of its own. And I don't know if you've seen this new AI tech. It's Google's rolled it out. It's going to be everywhere. You take one scene or one photo, and then it creates a whole world from there. It just moves and pans. And you'll be able to do that with any of the paintings you've done. It'll take and create the world based on your painting. So you created that world, and it could be explored by modern tech. So that's pretty cool. World creation. Yeah, I was very young and I realized that when you create art, that you're bringing something into the world that never existed before, and that's valuable. And each one of you, with every painting you do, that's what you're doing. And it doesn't matter how many images there are in the world, because each image that you create is one of a kind, special and unique. Yeah. And has meaning. You can bring the meaning is brought to it in several ways. Maybe we're jumping ahead, but it's that kind of talk. So there's the meaning of you having accomplished abilities that you've been working hard to do. And so when you get it, you look at your painting and you go, wow, I got it. That means a lot to you. Doesn't mean much to other people, though. You know that already. Yeah, no one cares about the fact you finally mastered painting grass, or you finally mastered painting a wave, or any of these things. People just like to look at your work and appreciate it, or lie to you. Yeah, so we're moving beyond documentation as artists. We are not a camera. We are an interpreter of beauty in the world, and that is intrinsically valuable. And this is one of the reasons why I think understanding your appreciation of beauty, understanding what it is that appeals to you as an artist and as a person, is a very big. It's a very big part of your foundation as an artist. Yeah, it's one of your 5 foundations. Landscape paintings, I feel they offer a neutral place for consciousness to inhabit. So you go, whoa. Well, it's this simple. You've created a scene or a space, and when people look at it or apprehend it, they inhabit it. And there's a communication not only that's gone on between you and them, but you and art history. Whoa. Either way, this is why I don't like houses, cars, buildings, monuments, any of that stuff in my paintings, because I want people to bring their own selves and their own narrative to the work. Yeah. My personal mission with painting is to transmit tranquility and peace through my work. And you could go, well, you could make it a little more happy. That's not unhappy. It's just a bit moody. We had an open day here recently, and the lady came and goes, "Wow, your stuff's moody." I mean that in a good way, she said. I was like, "That's all good. Yeah, it's moody, but I'm not a moody guy. I'm a happy guy. But my art's moody. My art's whatever you think it is, you know. And the art I make is the art that I can make. Yeah. Key insight. The best paintings transmit the highest feelings that we are capable of experiencing. So that moment of insight, epiphany, and the overwhelming belonging you feel with reality in the world, that is can be transmitted through your painting to someone else, and that's intrinsically valuable, really valuable. Yeah. Foundation 2. The beauty versus the message choice. Choose your master wisely. We already touched on this already at the beginning, but serving beauty requires knowledge, right? Serving a message, you have a lot more latitude to be ugly, okay? But if you're serving beauty, you have to have an awareness of art. All of this is in the new book. I touch on art history. I touch on composition. I touch on color theory. I touch on mastery materials. And I touch on mental outlook. You have to think a bit about why you're painting. You don't have to obsess about it, but even if you're a non-philosophical type, assuming you've got this far in the video, it's incredibly valuable for you to understand what it is you want to do with your art and what it is that you love. And I think it's perfectly valid, by the way, if you see an artist doing that, just do what they're doing. You're still going to be you, right? You can't escape. Don't think you can. Don't think you can. You can't. In fact, play it up. You be more you. Put more of you into your work. Yeah. That's not part of this list, but hey, it's a pretty free. It's It's a pretty free-flowing exploration, this particular Easel Talk. Yeah, serving message can ignore craft. You got shock, cleverness, conceptual approaches. You can do a lot of stuff. But the path of beauty demands more from us, a lot more. Yeah. The responsibility that comes with creating experiences, not just images. So when you are presenting your painting to the world, that to me is something you need to be responsible about. You are bringing something into the world that is communicating something. Now, I think a bit about this because when I was a commercial artist, I was quite well paid. And one of the main things I was paid to do was do meat-eating dinosaurs with big, sharp teeth. And you think at one point we're doing blood on their claws. You know? Sure, I mean, the young me would have really loved that. But as I got older, I was like, yeah, okay. Well, this is designed for young people. I don't want to be involved with it. I want to create something beautiful. I want to create something to lift you up. I'm not going to check that. Don't you worry about it. I should have set wife a text this morning, though. But we're going to get through this. We'll get through this. Yeah. Personal stance. I chose beauty over political messaging or other like commercial aims and things like that. My idea of what's beautiful. And that, so let's talk about this painting. You'll see it on the channel coming up. It's Ocean Beach. So I had a really lovely email on the channel. Somebody really responded to a painting I did of Ocean Beach, and they told a lovely story of their experience in Ocean Beach. It was, their story was like a beautiful painting, and funny enough, it was very much resonating with my painting of Ocean Beach, which, you know, they said they were interested in purchasing, but that's almost beside the point, because the fact that and it was a very misty, kind of sunsetty, magical version of Ocean Beach, that stimulated them so much that they contacted me. They got back to me and talked to me about their story, which would have made another beautiful painting on its own, right? But so when I come in the next day, I'm thinking, yeah, what am I going to do today? Well, I'll do Ocean Beach. You know, I'm on that. I'm high on that, and I did a beautiful painting. It's very different, but still beautiful. Still Ocean Beach.
Did you know you could buy the book landscapepainter.co.nz? The book cost $65 US. Did you know?
Building on giants. We all stand on the shoulders of giants. Yes. Tradition as a living foundation. I think it's necessary for you to study the past masters. Now, there might be contemporary artists you're into. I don't really know what goes on out there. I know there's a whole world of painting. Sometimes I see glimpses or glimmers of it. But it's not very often I'm on YouTube searching for painting. I'm looking at other things. My job is to paint. And, you know, I'm interested every now and again. I think it was about a year or two ago I did a deep dive into and picked up a few things, watching some great videos that other people put out, and these people are getting hundreds of thousands of views, and it's all good because, you know, they're in the mainstream and I'm over here in my little tributary, and that's all fine. Don't worry about stuff like that. Don't worry about the reception that your work is drawing in the world. Worry about purifying your internal vision of what you do until it's finally honed and distilled and communicates. That's your job. Yeah. And that job is definitely assisted by studying the masters. Study the contemporary guys. They got tips for you, but dig into the masters. Look at Camille Corot. Look at George Aness. Look at any of these painters. Like a lot of people, oh, I love Rousseau. I don't love Rousseau. But if you do, start making some studies after his work. Start taking it apart, seeing how it was put together, you know? And then you can bring that into your work, the best parts of it. You can just bolt it right on, you know? Hopefully. Oh, gosh, there's some good stuff in here. Oh, my goodness. The necessity of studying a past masters. We covered that. But here's a core principle for you. The art we create is the sum total of all the assumptions we've made on our own. Okay? So, you're no one else. You take things and bits and bobs from other people that resonate with you, and you bolt it on, right? You add it to yourself. And this creates something that's completely unique and will never be replicated or duplicated in the world. And your art is a unique expression of that. And that's your goal, really. You might get a big buzz from people saying, "Hey, you're great, we love you, oh, you're awesome, here's some more views, here, have some money, come on, have a show in our gallery, we love you." That'll feel good, but the problem with that sort of feeling good is like, "Oh, okay, well, now it's quiet. How come no one's admiring me right now? Oh my gosh. I need to do something to get that back." Yeah, that's a topic for another broadcast, I think. Yeah. We must constantly reevaluate those assumptions we're making. And this is philosophy. This is what philosophy is. Philosophy is thinking about the assumptions we make that underpin the world. It's all it is. Don't think it's anything else. It's not this stuffy thing. Yes, they teach it in colleges, but I can't read any of that stuff. I don't care about it. I picked up books by, actual philosophers, and it's like, yeah, why are you making it so hard? Why you make it so hard, bro? It's not that hard. Do something you think is beautiful and meaningful. Bring that into the world because that's what you want in the world. How about that? Easy. Okay, renewal through studying tradition, not rebelling against it. That's my deal. Yeah, when I do a master riff, this is already going long. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm only at 21. That's cool. That's cool. I want to try and make even though it's philosophy, I don't want to make it 50 minutes. So let's move on. Finding your voice within the conversation, not without it. So art history, you're a part of it. You don't need to have any negative attitudes about it. You don't need to worry about the fact that some people are so great that you don't even couldn't even conceive of how you could do anything even remotely close. Don't worry about that stuff. First of all, it's a negative bullshit idea. Sorry. You don't need it. You don't need that kind of thinking. What you need to do is like, why do I love that? Why do I think they're awesome? And how can I get some of that for me? Mm-hmm. Digital versus traditional. That'll be another conversation we'll talk about. That'll be a good talk. I've got lots to say. Foundation 4. Unify, simplify, amplify. I have a whole chapter called this in the new book. But we're touching on it here because it's a really great concept for art. Unify is creating harmonious wholes where all elements work together. Simplify, we talked about that in the composition talk on the last Easel Talk. You need to boil everything down to just what's got to be there and make sure it's clear, right? Amplify, you then take that and you pump it up. Take the color further. Make the thing that's kind of big in the scene bigger and everything else a little smaller. That's amplification. This trinity guides every compositional decision you make. So we're kind of calling back into composition, even though we're in philosophy, because it's all tied together. You from where you're sitting as a painter starting out, you just go, oh my God, I just want to make a beautiful painting. I mean, why is it so hard? Yeah, it is. It is hard, but it's something to do. And what's great about making beautiful, so would be mastering World of Warcraft, or that's a game I know about. There's a zillion games I don't know about, but I have a real issue with that. You might love playing games. Yeah, they look fun. I mean, but my real problem with games is that you will spend a lot of your mental energy, time, and attention learning how to play a game. For what? What do you have to show for it? Oh, when you look there, I'm number 10 on the list. It's just a name. When you work hard to create a beautiful painting, it doesn't matter what your name was. It doesn't matter, because when you're dead and you're gone, your painting will be there and people will go, Who did that? That's freaking cool. I like that. I resonate with that. So all that effort, all that practice and time and pressure created something lasting. Well, that's better than a game. Okay. Connection to world creation. So yeah, why play a game when you can create your own world on the canvas? And old Bob Ross, he was always saying, "No, you want a fluffy cloud? You do the fluffy cloud. It's your happy world. You're making it. You want a happy tree? Great. Bob's on to something there. World creation. Very good. Foundation 5. See, we're moving right along. I might get this done in a half hour, which would be my goal. The path of continuous becoming. Gosh, this sounds really good. Oh, just so you know, so I wrote the chapter, and this is not a big chapter. It's like 1,000 words. I've already used more than 1,000 words here, I'm sure. Maybe, I don't know. It doesn't really matter because I said everything I had to say. Every chapter in this book is like that. I didn't say anything I didn't need to say, and if it had to go further or longer, it did. And if I said it in 1,000 words or less, usually I didn't want less, but if it was 900, 800, whatever, I said what needed to be said. And everything could be exploded out into, talks like this. And so what I did was I give my chapter to, in this case, Claude, and I says, I want to do a talk. Can you give me an outline? And that's what we've got. Very good. That's a proper use of AI, if you ask me. It's Monday. Slither down the greasy pipe. So far, so good. No one saw you. Okay. Art as a lifelong conversation, continuous learning. We just touched on that. There's always more to see, always deeper to go. And I've been an artist my whole life. And I think landscape, and you could do it with a figure, you could do it with anything. But I think, I was into drawing people and figures for the first 20, 30 years of my life. I did some playing around with the landscape, but the reason I settled on landscape is because it's a much vaster container for emotion than a painting. A painting of a landscape, it can contain a far greater amount of content, emotion, meaning, and world than a painting of a figure. And I'm not putting down figure painters. I love painting figures, but for me, for what I want to do, for what I want to communicate, landscape is where it's at. And when I started looking at, okay, here I've had this successful art career, but I'm tired of that, I want to move on. What do I want to spend the last part of my life doing as an artist? Landscape painting. And then I decided I'm going to start working on getting better at this. And it was very similar to the decision I made when I was a young kid, around 13 years or so. The way I was raised was pretty clear, 18, I'm going to have to be out in the world doing something. And I thought, well, what's good for my temperament? Art, And it was a good decision, although it took me a while to actually get a career where I was making a living making art. Absolute blessing, everything. My life has been very, very bountiful and blessed. I'm going to do this out, knocking the camera over, okay. Art is the ultimate expression of creation, communicating across time. We touched on that, but that sentence alone really makes it concrete. So now your bad paintings do as well. So get rid of those. Just keep the best stuff. And then at some point, it's about legacy, right? It's about you were here. Kilroy was here. You were here. You were here. And we don't know you, but when we look at your work, in a sense, we do know you. We know what you really cared about. We know what you wanted to create. And that's a total extension of who you are. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, how we embed our contemporary perspective in the timeless subjects. That's a great one. Yeah. And that's what you're doing. You're a contemporary person. You're not Georgia Ness or John Francis Murphy. You're contemporary, and what they had that we're kind of missing is art was more special. you want an image on the wall, you cut it out of the Bible as a black and white etching or something. You know, you wanted a color image on the wall, you had to make it yourself, or you had to be rich and have a painter do it. Yeah. But we're well past that. Anyone could have every square inch of their life covered with images, much like this studio here. Yeah, our responsibility to future generations. This is a pivotal time. This is a key time because especially I feel like I'm in the transition generation from the old world where images were still somewhat sacred to where now they're disposable. But a painting is not just an image. I've said this a million times. It's not just this two-dimensional thing that you're interacting with online. It's a real painting in the real world. People have to reckon with it. When you're not there, if it's beautiful, they won't throw it on the trash heap. When you're dead and they're going through your piles of stuff and just throwing it in the dumpster, all the things you kind of hoarded or kept or cared about, and then they get to your art. Some of it might go in a dumpster, but your beautiful things will be kept, and someone will say, you know what, I'll put this up on the wall and look at it. That's what I'm going to do. Intrinsic value. That's what Uncle Mike's all about. Yes. And landscapes are the neutral space. It serves that mission perfectly. Yeah, we talked about my personal evolution from commercial work to fine art. Maintaining that reverence despite the creative pressures. You know, I got out in time. And in many ways, the vanguard for the rest of humanity, because here I am for the last 15 years. I've just been making art to make art. Yes, I've tried to sell it. And yes, I'm trying to be a successful artist in the sort of terms that the world understands. But ultimately, never at the expense of doing what it is I feel I should be doing. Okay? And you're all going to be there. We're all going to be there because all this drudgery, all this BS work that we've been forced to do just to get some groceries and stuff, I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know how it's going to go down or be replaced, how the old world's going to finally die, but it will die, and we'll be left here. Plenty of humans will still be left. And we're going to need to do something and make some art that's intrinsically meaningful, as I've just explained to you today. Yes. Yes, so practical application, develop your own philosophy. It's not a stuffy thing that you shouldn't be familiar with. It's just a word that means think about what you're doing, you know. Maybe sit down and write yourself a mission statement. This is what I want to do with my art. This is what I want to learn. This is what I want to express. This is what I want to create in the world, and start working on it. And your life will have so much meaning. Your life will be so great because every day when you get up, you say, I got my job. I'm going to do it. That's me. That's how I am. That's how I live. I'm very lucky, very fortunate. And in many ways, I feel, like I say, I'm on the vanguard. I'm ahead of the rest of you. Only not necessarily artistically, but as a person that's made a decision that yes, I will dedicate my life to creating something that's beautiful and meaningful. And I've had the luxury of doing that thanks to my lovely wife and family. But we're all going to have the luxury of doing that thanks to AI. It's coming. Just deal with it. Yeah, and don't be too worried, because you take every day, a day at a time, and this isn't that kind of channel, so we're going to focus on the philosophy of art here. Closing integration. Standing before the blank board. Yeah, all 5 of these let's do a recap. Okay, 5 foundations. We got foundation 1, art as world creation. We got foundation 2, the beauty versus the message choice, what we decide to do with our work, what kind of worlds we want to make. Standing on the shoulders of giants, acknowledging that and then using that to propel you even further, right? Realizing who it is you think is awesome and why, and then integrating that into your own practice. Foundation 4, the creative trinity. That's unify, simplify, amplify. And that's kind of touching back into the practical of picture making, which, I can't help but do because it's all together, right? All ties together. And then foundation 5 is the path of continuous becoming. And I love that because that's what you do every day. You get up and you say, what am I going to do today? Well, I guess I'll make a painting, or maybe I'll just turn on the TV. What TV? Who watches TV? I'll turn on the old YouTube. What's that? I never really thought about macrame before. It's pretty cool. Let's watch this. Okay. Yes. I challenge you. What does your art serve? Who do you serve? Remember that? No, you don't, because you're not old like me. Who do you serve? That's from Excalibur. That was the Grail, right? At the end of the movie, Percival. He's looking for the Grail because England's dying. Arthur's dying. Without Arthur is England. Arthur is the Grail, and when the Grail asks Percival, who do you serve? I serve the king. I serve England. I serve something greater. Ask that of yourself. Who does your art serve? Who do you serve? What will your art do in the world? What is your goal? And it isn't going to be great right away. Come on. I know you're here right now and you want to get the feelings right now, but you got to pull it back and just start doing the hard yakka and just realize that you're on a journey. And that's why the last volume in our series is called Journey to Mastery. It's very important. Did we go to 35? Oh my gosh. We're closing. We're very close. Okay, practical takeaways for the viewers. What this? Yeah, that's good. We are done. Define your artistic mission, beauty or message. Choose consciously. You're already in the beauty camp. I know that. But these things are important, and you will need to address them. Study with purpose. When you go to the masters, focus on the masters that you like. Who cares about our history? I don't care. I only care about our history because I'm making art. And so when I look at the masters of the past, now I'm not saying that's not a valid job. I know an art historian, and he's not an artist. He thinks art history is valuable because he's an art historian. I think art history is valuable because I want to look at what was great that was done before and how can I use that to serve my art and what I'm doing. Develop your own trinity, that unity, simplicity, and amplification principle. We'll make that another talk down the road. A whole really good chapter on the book that explores that very deeply. And embrace continuous growth. So embracing growth really means don't get too hung up on that last bad painting. Throw it away. Get your board out and make another painting. And then make another. Keep those ones that are kind of good. Get rid of the bad ones, and you got no problems because you're not going to remember the bad ones if they're not sitting there in front of you. And we talked about this a lot, but it's always good to stress. If you're working every day and you're creating lots of work, then the bad ones, the good ones, it all evens out. You throw away the bad ones, you keep the good ones, and you won't remember the bad ones so much because you're doing a lot of painting all the time. When these bad ones become a real millstone is when you're not painting all the time and you're loath to throw it away because it represents the last time you actually did something. Okay. Embrace your own continuous growth, question assumptions, seek deeper understanding, create experiences, create wonderful experiences for people. And I hope I created a wonderful experience for you. And at the end of this video, hey, there's a supplies page. I don't know if I'll ever get paid, but click on it and you can look at, like I do, Amazon does sell some trickle brushes. So you could buy that trickle 6. That will change your life. I don't know. Probably not. It won't change your life as much as thinking about these things, but it all adds up. Other ways to support me. I have a donation thing on my site. Why don't you tip on over there and just send me $1,000 and I can buy this better lens that I want, because Right now I have a 100 millimeter, and I got a real far back, and I got a 50 millimeter where I'm going to be right in close. I want this 80 millimeter, which I'm right in the middle. Why do I want it? Just because I want to make more better videos. More better. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Oh, yes, the Studio Pass. I don't care how you support me. Many of you bought the book, and I appreciate that. Oh, and we're still on hold there. I don't know what's up, but I'm relaxed about it because I can't do anything about it. If you worry too much about things you can't do anything about, then that's like, right? We don't need that. We don't need that. Okay, thank you for joining me today, and until I come back with another Easel Talk. This one's been good. I've enjoyed it. Hopefully you did too. And we hit 40 minutes again. So sorry, but until we come back, take good care. Stay out of trouble, and for the world.
Did you know you could buy the book? Landscapepainter.co.nz. The book cost $65 US. Did you know?